National Steel Policy 2017. Steel is a product of large and technologically complex industry, having a strong forward and backward linkages in terms of material flows and income generation for the country. Therefore, in this context, the steel industry assumes a great importance for the national economy. In this background, the new draft National Steel Policy of 2017 has been released recently. The proposed National Steel Policy 2017 is an effort to steer the industry to achieve its future potential, and it outlines a strategy to deal with the various impediments like high input cost, availability of raw materials, dependency on imports, financial stress, etc. As said before, the steel is a product of large and technologically complex industry having a strong forward and backward linkages in terms of material flows and income generation. It is also one of the most important products of the modern world and of a strategic importance to any industrial nation. From construction, industrial machinery to consumer products, steel finds its way into a wide variety of applications. It is also an industry with a diverse technologies based on the nature and extent of raw materials used. In India, steel has an output multiplier effect of nearly 1.4 on GDP and employment multiplier factor of 6.8x. Therefore, a vibrant steel industry has historically been the foundation of a nation's rapid industrial development. On account of rapid industrial development from a small capacity of just 22 metric tons, that was in financial year 91 to 92, that is prior to deregulations, now India has become the third largest steel producer in the world, and it produces 91 metric tons and has a capacity of 122 metric tons, that is in financial year 2015 and 16. So what is the vision of this National Steel Policy? The National Steel Policy envisages to create a globally competitive steel industry that promotes intersectoral growth. It also aims to create a self-sufficient steel industry that is technologically advanced, globally competitive, and promotes inclusive growth. And its mission, therefore, is to provide an environment for attaining self-sufficiency in steel production by providing policy support and guidance to private manufacturers and medium and small industries, steel producers, and the central public sector undertakings, and also encourage adequate capacity additions. The new steel policy also has a mission of development of globally competitive steel manufacturing capabilities as mentioned earlier. The cost-efficient production and domestic availability of the iron ore, coking coal and natural gas also happens to be main mission of the steel policy. The policy also aims to facilitate investment in overseas asset acquisitions of the raw materials. The mission also aims to enhance the domestic steel demand for its economic growth. Therefore, this National Steel Policy has practical objectives of building a globally competitive industry with a crude steel capacity of as much as 300 metric tons by the year 2030 to 2031. It also has an objective of increasing a per capita steel consumption to 160 kilograms per person by 2030-31. It also has objectives of domestically meeting the entire demand of high-grade automotive steel, electrical steel, special steels, and also alloys for strategic applications, that is by 2030-31. The steel policy also aims at increasing its domestic availability of washed coking coal so as to reduce import dependence on coking coal to 50% by 2030-31. The steel policy also aims to be a net exporter of steel by 2025 to 26. In order to encourage industry to be a world leader in energy and raw material efficient steel production by 2031 in a safe and sustainable manner, that is another objective of the steel policy. The policy also envisages to develop and implement quality standards for domestic steel products. To summarize and conclude, the National Steel Policy of 2017 is an effort to steer the industry to achieve its full potential, enhance steel production, and focus on high-end value-added steel, same time being globally competitive. The National Steel Policy of 2005 earlier sought to indicate ways and means of consolidating the gains that were flowing from the then economic order, and it charted out a roadmap for sustained and efficient growth of the Indian steel industry. However, there were unfolded developments in India, and same changes also happened in the worldwide in terms of demand and supply sides of the steel market, and these factors have warranted a relook at the different elements of the National Steel Policy since 2005. Now, India's competitive advantage in steel production is driven to a large extent from the indigenous availability of high-grade iron ore and non-coking coal. These are the two critical inputs of the steel production. In addition, it also has a vast and rapidly growing market for steel, and there is a strong medium and small industry sector and also relatively young workforce with a very competitive labor cost which will help the steel industry. So therefore, driven by the positive demand outlook and prevailing high prices of steel in the period of post-2004, the Indian steel sector witnessed a wave of investments, and that happened in the states of Odisha, Jharkhand, Karnataka and Chhattisgarh. There were a substantial new capacity that were created, and the existing plants were also modernized. A significant portion of these investments, of course, were funded by the banks and other forms of borrowings. India, therefore, became a third largest producer of steel in 2015 itself, and it is now well on track to emerge as the second largest producer after China. There is a significant potential for growth given the low per capita steel consumption of 61 kilos only in India. This 61 kilos is small as compared to the world average of 208 kilograms. But the Indian economy is rapidly growing with an enormous focus on infrastructure and construction sector. Several initiatives, mainly affordable housing, expansion of railway networks, development of domestic shipbuilding industry, opening of defense sector for private participation, and the anticipated growth in the automobile sector, all these factors are expected to create a significant demand for the steel industry in the country. Further, while the main focus of the industry is on the domestic market, that is because it is in close vicinity of the Western developing East countries, it provides a strategic location, and this augurs well for the industry that is seeking opportunities for exports of finished goods and imports of some scarcely available raw materials.